Welcome to Bandit's Keep. I'm Daniel. This week I want to talk about illusions. We're going to go kind of a deep dive into how you can adjudicate them as a game master. I've done a video before where we talked more or less about each of the illusion spells, if you would, and how those work. But here I'm going to be a little bit more, here's how we put this into play. So let's get to it. Believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. Right? That's good advice, especially when you're living in a world with illusions. So how do we handle illusions? How do we handle adjudicating them as a dungeon master from the point of view of NPCs casting them, villains, bad guys, good guys, whatever, and also from the other end, players casting them, player characters, hopefully. How do we deal with this? So the simple answer here is saving throws, but I feel like saving throws leave a lot to be desired, and I think we can come up with some simple rules, maybe not rules, ideas, philosophies that will allow us to run illusions better. So let's handle the saving throw first, because I think that right there is the most obvious solution. And what I'm going to say about this is when I am a player and when I'm a dungeon master, I understand that a good player can know something. That is, let's say the group splits off and one player is talking in another room to an NPC. The rest of the player characters aren't there. I know if my character's not in that room, I don't know what's going on. I have to react to whatever I know, okay? I get that. And I play with people, and we all get that. And I think good players get that. So if somehow you know that there's an illusion as a player, but your character doesn't, you should be able to pretend like the thing's real because your character doesn't know it. But I think that that takes away a lot from the game for me. I like the idea of figuring it out, but also being fooled, finding out later, oh man, that was an illusion. And if you ask your players to roll dice, to roll a saving throw, or if when they walk into a situation that you roll dice for them, they will suspect something. Now, there is this idea, and I think it's a quote from Gygax, or people attribute it as such, as something like, I just roll the dice behind the screen to make the players nervous or something. I always took that as more of a tongue-in-cheek, ha-ha-ha thing, not a way to play. But I do know that people have given this advice before. Just roll dice, keep the players on their toes. I don't like to do that. I roll dice when it's important to roll dice. To me, narrative in playing the game, that is the conversation of the game, the negotiation of the game, goes until dice need to be thrown. Throwing the dice is what we do when we reach a point where you can't be fair or you don't know the answer. The dice are the true neutral, right? As much as we want to be as neutral as possible. Great. But when somebody first walks into a room and there's an illusion, is it needed in the beginning? Or should we, as the eyes of the dungeon master, just explain to the player characters what they see until there's reasonable doubt for them to want to go deeper without saving throws? Okay, so if I'm going to take the position that I don't think that dice, that is saving throws, should be rolled for illusions, at least not immediately, how do we adjudicate them? I'm going to say that in some ways, we don't do them the same for the players as we do for the NPCs. That is to say that with the players, that is the players overcoming, the players facing an illusion, we want to feed them what they see in the world and let them puzzle out the fact that there could be an illusion here. This way, we can keep the game feeling like a challenge to the players and not just a challenge to the dice. If I just have 5 characters and they all step into a room and I give them a saving throw, chances are one of them is going to succeed. So you walk in the room, I roll a bunch of dice behind my screen, I look, the thief made the saving throw, and I go, you're looking in the room, you can see that there's, the fireplace, blah, blah, blah. And thief, you can see that the fireplace is kind of flickering and hazy. You can see right through it, like it's just an image. How fun is that, right? What's more fun is they're probing around and they test things. They stick their, 10-foot pole into the fire. Does it light up? At this point, maybe we make a saving throw. And here you can kind of cover it. You can be like, oh, you're putting your pole into the fire. You roll something behind the screen. Let's say they fail. The end of your 10-foot pole is ignited. And they're like, oh man, really? You did that to me? But again, you're playing into this idea. They're thinking you rolled the dice to see if the stick ignited. So you're still having an illusion at the table that the fire is real, right? Because they haven't said, I don't think this fire is real. They're just probing at it because that's what PCs do, right? Is the fire hot when there's an illusion? Yeah. Does the fire smell when there's an illusion? Yeah. Does it make sound and light? Yeah. Until they don't believe it. And because of that, throwing dice immediately, even if everybody fails, creates a situation where the players are like, there's something going on. I should investigate. Disbelief. Fine. You want to play it that way, not giving saving throws right away. What if the players decide they don't believe? Well, why don't they believe? And how much of a risk are they willing to take that can truly prove that they don't believe? So for this, I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, get ready for story time, about something that just happened in my campaign. And this will give you an idea of how I adjudicate an illusion and how it plays out at the table. Without making this super long, the party had been exploring the idea of going to this wizard's tower. They had heard rumors that around the tower there was an area of death and nothing grew, okay? They headed to where the tower was on top of a hill. They saw lush grass growing until it reached an area around the wizard's tower, and then everything was dead, okay? That met their expectations. They approached it, kind of questioning what they should do. One of the characters had the ability to see invisible. He said, there could be something hidden here, invisibly. I'm going to use my see invisible power. Uses it. He sees a terrible creature hidden there. Oh boy, there's a terrible creature hidden here. Maybe that's what's killing everything. What are we going to do? They retreat back. Now, couple things. They had heard from a good source that the best way to approach the tower was without seeing, okay? They also were in the forest line now, and they had a speak with animals spell, and they thought, well, animals would know to stay away if things are dying, right? Did we see dead animals? I'm like, no, you didn't see dead animals. They found the most intelligent animal they could, a crow, and they questioned it. And the crow said it was dangerous, but not for the reasons that the player characters had seen, a different reason. And that made them think, well, hold on, that's what a crow would be afraid of. We're afraid of this monster. Maybe it's an illusion. So now they're questioning if it's an illusion. So one of the player characters, in my world, dwarves are blind basically, and they kind of, when they're underground, they have like an echolocation. Maybe I'll talk about that in another thing. But anyways, they said, well, this character's blind. We can have them walk into this circle and walk straight through and see what happens. And then the player said, yes, my character doesn't believe that there's monsters there. They think it's an illusion. And I said, okay, if you think that this is an illusion, your character truly thinks it, then you will not flinch, you will not move, you will not defend yourself if the monster attacks you, correct? Because you don't believe it's real, right? Which means that if the monster is real, because being this kind of monster, and they know this, you will very likely die. Yes, I believe that. Okay. All the other players' characters go with this player to the edge of the thing. One of them has a see invisible. And they go, I'm going to watch to see what happens. Because I also don't believe it. I said, okay, so you don't believe it, so you're going to go in as well? And they said, no, I'm just going to watch, but I don't believe it. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, they do believe it. If they didn't believe it, they would not walk it. They would just walk into the circle. So again, this is where it's like, you can tell me your character doesn't believe it, but if they don't think there's a monster there, why are they not willing to walk in? Why are they standing guard? Why do they want to tie a rope around this player character? Clearly, they believe, right? Even no matter what they're trying to say here. So long story short, the character walks in, the creature kills them, the illusion of the creature kills them, and the player character that was standing outside said, I don't believe it. I'm going to, step forward or whatever. And when they did that, instantly they saw they weren't dead. Because now they truly didn't believe it because they were taking the risk. This is how I adjudicated it, with no saving throw, with nothing. But here's the thing. If I did say to them, listen, if you want to handle this mechanically, this is what we'll do. I will secretly roll a saving throw for every one of you behind the thing. Then, if you succeed in the saving throw, then if the thing's fake, then once you interact with it, it'll be proven that it's fake. If you fail, though, you're still going to die, right? Because that's what the saving throw is there for. And they chose, no, I don't want to roll the dice. I truly believe. And because of that, they didn't need to roll. They basically took no damage from this thing because they did not believe. Would this work for every group? Maybe not. Because this is something that I had said a long time ago in my other video. Illusions are about trust. They're about trust and about truly finding yourself in that world. To actually take the role of your character in that world and play it out. Make that sacrifice because you truly believe that it is fake. Not because some meta reason. They did their research. They had a real good reason to believe this would be a fake monster. And I'll also say, rolling back, because this is always a question. This is a question I got when I told the story to somebody else. Well, was it realistic for that monster to be there? Yes, it was. Would the monster definitely have killed them? Did they believe that? Yeah, they would have. How did they know that? They had fought one of these monsters before and it killed another player character in one hit. They knew that these kind of monsters existed. They knew about them. They knew they could be there. It wasn't even impractical that monster would be there. So make your illusions feel real. But if the player characters take the time to investigate them, let them find the holes in the illusions. And when they do, and if they truly disbelieve, let them. No dice needed. NPCs don't believe. When it comes to NPCs, we have to look at this completely different. You, as a dungeon master, are going to know that it's an illusion. So you can't play that I disbelieve game because it will be too hard to really, truly know if the NPC would disbelieve. Now, that being said, if it seems likely because the illusion is something completely out of line that just would not be possible, they open up a door in a house and inside there's a dragon, definitely would not be enough space, give the NPC bonus to their saving throw. If the spell or the illusion is like perfect, it's exactly what you think it would be, give them a penalty, right? Make it more difficult for them to save if the illusion really fits. If the illusion doesn't fit, make it easier for them to save. But I would still leave it to the dice for the most part because I think it's too hard to really step out. The dice, again, are the neutral party. When you have information, sometimes it's hard to truly be neutral. And you're going to lean whether or not you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. Yes, you're kind of deciding a little bit because you're giving a bonus or a penalty, but ultimately the dice can really throw off one way or the other what you thought was going to happen, which can be really great. So for NPCs, believing or disbelieving, I think I would just go straight dice roll, unless there's a real good reason why they should know that it's an illusion. So in the end, my philosophy with illusions is this. When you are trying to make the player characters believe an illusion, that is, an NPC is trying to make them believe it, you as the dungeon master should, as much as possible, in a way that fits the world, make the players believe it. If the illusion is of a wall, and there's a reason that a wall might be there, then just say there's a wall there. Don't give them some hint that it might be an illusion. Let them figure it out. Because that's, in the end, what makes the game fun. That makes it something that they can overcome. And this is sometimes called player skill. But in the end, if you're unsure, or if it's the NPC that needs to decide whether it's real or not, go to the dice. The dice are going to be your friends. I just warn that if you have somebody roll a die, the person is going to wonder why they rolled it, and that is going to, on some level, influence what they do. So just keep that in mind, that you will be influencing the players if you have them roll dice, for good or bad, right? Anyways, I wanted to end this by saying we've reached 20,000 subscribers on this channel, and that is amazing. Thank you so much for supporting me here. I really appreciate it. I hope you are getting stuff out of this channel. I know I am. I love talking about this, and it makes me rethink things. And I like to look back actually sometimes at my old videos and be like, oh, I don't think that anymore. Maybe I should rehash some old videos. Let me know if you want me to go through an old video where I kind of change my mind and talk about it. Also, I did mention that I would talk about Crown and Skull a little bit, which I will. I've been looking around on YouTube. There's not that many videos actually about it. So maybe that is something to dig into, because it's kind of an interesting system. If you are new here, or if not, please do take a moment to like the video and ring the bell, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you soon.